What's up, Wargamers? Welcome back to World of Wargaming. I'm Isaiah, and today we're going to dig deeper into my pile of opportunity. That closet, shelf, room, whole house that we all have that's filled with things that we have dreams of completing one day. Today we start a new dream. I recently finished my Sorax army, or maybe Arok's army. I guess it could be whichever one, depending on just how I wanted to play that day. But that is my Lizard Man. It's the Lizard Man army for Argatoria, which is a 10mm fantasy rank and flank game from Spellcrow. Now, you may be familiar with the Spellcrow name from third-party bits and models and things like that. But they have some games. They have a 28mm game called Umbra Terrace. I think that's the name of it. And then they have this 10mm game, Argatoria, which is set in the same world. And the models are beautiful. They're top-shelf models. It's got a very, very 90s retro feel. If you'd like to see or hear more about it, go check out the Let Me Talk At You video that I did about it. And that'll give you some more information about the game and the system and some mechanics and all that good stuff. Today, however, we're going to crack open this Sheol Morg starter box that I purchased shortly after getting the Lizard Man army, the Sorax army, and just went ahead and, said the heck with it. I don't want to have to try to convince somebody from scratch. I'll just buy two armies. They're very, very reasonably priced. They're like 45 pounds sterling, so like 50, 55 bucks. And the shipping is actually very, very reasonable considering where in the world it's coming from, which I want to say is Poland. But I could be wrong there. Anyways, let's flip the camera around, crack into this box. So, first thing we notice is that it's all in this large bag, which is fine. It seems safe. Nothing looks damaged. However, I was kind of hoping for another one of the small kind of boxes like the other starter army came in with the cool kind of retro model photography on the front. I'm assuming that this is probably like this because I bought it so early, or this may just be how they're shipping. It's not a huge deal because packaging ends up in the trash anyways. I just like to see it. Anyways, let's get in here. Let's see what we got. Okay, so first up, and these are the models that I bought the army for, that I decided to on Sheol Morg as my second army for this game, and that is the Khazars. Nope. I just had them in my hand. Where did I put them? There they are. Nope. Oh goodness. Did I mix everything up? I did. Okay, here we go. I found them. The Khazars, which are their Beastmen. And now I love Beastmen, and I've always wanted a Beastmen army, but they just weren't ever very good in the games that I played, and a lot of the kits were kind of expensive. But these are gorgeous, and they're, again, oh goodness, very affordable. With their big pole arms, their bills, or bardishes, or I wouldn't call it a halberd. It looks kind of like a bardiche from Ultima Online. But yeah, these are what I bought the army for, and they just released a set of Khazar heroes, like General Command Group kind of stuff, and I'm going to be getting those because those are the heroes and champions that I want in this army. The starter box comes with 2 bags of these. In the game, your regular troops are mounted on square bases, and they are mounted 2 guys to a base. So this gives you 8 bases worth of Khazar, which is a full-size unit. I think is 16 maybe. It's either 12 or 16. I'm not certain which. It's been a while since I actually flipped through the rule book. I've just been trying to chip away at getting the stuff painted. Or it could even be 24 bases. But these are the Trulax, or skeletons in layman's terms. And there's a pretty good amount of variety in these sculpts. There's a few different things going on, so they're not all the same. And most importantly for me, as someone who hates building models, and this is again one of the draws of the game, I don't gotta build nothing. I can paint them right on the sprue, trim them off, slap them on the bases, put some flock on there, and we're gonna go. But like, this is my favorite sprue because I love this dude with the long hair, and I absolutely adore this fellow right here with the mohawk. These are quality skeletons, especially at 10 millimeter, because skeletons are such a fiddly model because they're skeletons. Everything's normally, very skinny, and so to do them and do them well at 28 millimeters is an accomplishment, but to do it well at 10 millimeters, I think is top shelf. And again, these are all hand sculpted models. I've seen some pictures that Spellcrow has posted of the artist proofs that are done in green stuff, and that is to sculpt at all is amazing. To sculpt that well at this scale is pretty impressive. We then have the Horned Warriors, and again, great detail. Like, look at the detail in the beard and in the fur that they've got draped on them. The helmets, and this guy's vambrace. Is that what that's called? When it's on your forearm like that? Wood grain in the shields and the little rivets. And there's, again, there's some variety to it. They're not all the exact same, so you don't have that very, very static look that you get with a lot of rank and flanks, which in some rank and flanks is good. Like in historicals, it's good because those soldiers were trained to, walk and be in perfect unison. But when you're talking about hordes of barbarians and lizardmen and skeletons and forest dryads and stuff, like, there should be some variety there. And this guy's cloak with the big old hammer, that is just awesome. I love their models so much. I haven't looked much at their models for their other lines, but I am absolutely in love with this line of models. And I love 10 millimeter. Like 10 millimeter is kind of a new thing for me that I've kind of gotten into just this year, and I love it. I love it. You get the feeling of the war game without all the work of painting a full-on 28 millimeter army, because that is a legitimate undertaking, especially for some games that are just a very, very large scale. You get 8 bases worth of Horned Warriors, by the way. We then come into one of the cooler units in the army, the hybrids, which are just these big, overgrown, monstrous looking dudes, like taken over, possessed, and then mutated trolls or ogres or something. But they've got these gnarly looking helmets, and anytime I see a helmet with horns that come out of the side like this, I'm always like, ooh, that's cool. I don't know, I think it speaks back to like me playing the first Diablo as a kid, because Diablo's got horns pretty much almost in this pattern. I think that's part of what makes me think of. But they also have all these they've got the divots in the back. Those are not just there for whatever. We got all these giant spikes that go in them. Now for this is a situation where I would highly suggest probably taking a good look at the pictures on the website before gluing these things on and making sure you're ready to do all those steps at once. These I will probably build and then go ahead and put on the base, because these guys are one model per base. So I will probably go ahead, build them, glue everything together, put them on the base, and then paint them, as opposed to the rest of the stuff, which I'll leave on the sprue to paint. Let me dig out. And they're not all the exact same pose, so let's dig out. At least I don't think they are. Sprues seem to be a little bit different. They've got, one hand with an axe, one hand with a club, just rampaging across the landscape. Yeah, see, he's got a different style of helmet. It's more kind of a skull mask, and then he's got the smaller points right there. I like the one with the bigger points on the sides. Oh gosh, look at this one. The helmet, man, it's the helmet that does it for me. Look at that thing. That's freaking gnarly. Absolutely super freaking cool. Then we got one more. His helmet kind of reminds me of a bug. It looks very insectoid to me. They got little short stubby legs and these big giant torsos, which is kind of funny, but I like it. Next up, we have the Trollocs, so the skeletons on fallen Ogars. Now this is a cavalry unit, and I love cavalry. A big chunk of my 10mm Kings of War army is cavalry. My Abyssal Dwarves army is the big bull centaurs, because I've always thought those were ridiculously cool. Here we go. But these are skeletons on kind of, I would describe it as a warg. So these are two-piece. We got 2 wolves per channel or piece of sprue. The legs are attached to the mount, so all you're doing is gluing on the top half of the rider. And again, we've got a little bit of variety there, so they're not all the exact same. Now there's basically 2 versions. Here's, so there's more variation of the wolves than there is the models, because the other, no, that's not the same. That's not the same, because so these are all different. These are 8 individually different guys. Now I assume that these are probably the only molds, so if you bought more of them, it would be more repeats, I would assume. This is 4 bases worth of these things, so two cavalry models to a base. There will be definitely some cleanup on these, but this is probably the most need for cleanup that I've seen on any of the Argatoria models. They're, generally speaking, pretty clean just straight out of the box. As always, it is resin, so you do want to give them a good scrub with some hot soapy water before trying to paint them or prime them, because that can lead to difficulty, frustration, and worst of all, wasted time. And then for leaders, the box comes with a Horned Warriors command group set, which is 2 sprues that have 2 command groups and then a general and a champion for a total of 4 bases. So these are general and champion. And I think they have basically like a second guy on there with them, but I'm going to assume that's probably the general and that's probably the champion. I'm assuming general because he's got a cloak and he's got a fancier kind of helmet than anybody else. So I'm going to assume he's the general. But again, great detail on these little tiny models. Even on the inside of the shield and the straps. And in the chain on the maul or the flail. Just absolutely. Look at this guy's hair, long hair just out, airing out around. Man, maybe he's the champion. Just looking beastly. And then we've got our banner bearers, musicians, and these should be like a banner bearer and a musician to each base. One thing that I do like that makes it on the table at least, and also I guess when you're sorting the models, makes it kind of easy to tell which ones are your command groups, your leaders, is that your command group models, leader models, go on round bases, whereas all of your troops go on square bases. I like having that little bit of distinction there. I feel like it makes it easier for me to keep up with things, especially once I get it on the table. At a very quick glance, you can tell where your hero is and who he's near and who he's affecting with his stuff. That, my friends, is going to do it for this Sheol Morg starter army from Argatoria. Again, for Argatoria from Spellcrow. Again, go check it out if you think they look cool. They're a great company, quick service, very friendly people. And thanks for tuning in and hanging out while I open some new toys today. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day. And as always, I'd like to say a big, huge, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to our patrons who support us and pledge to us over on Patreon. You guys are the absolute best. If you enjoyed the content you saw here today and that's something that you would like to consider doing to help out the channel, go over there, check out the link in the description, check out the Patreon. There's a lot of cool stuff over there, including access to our Discord server. Talk to me, hang out with me, talk about our work, what we got going on in the hobby, some shout outs, all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out if that's something that you think you would be into. And regardless of whether or not you do that, I want you to know that I am incredibly grateful that you decided to stop by and spend part of your day with me today, rolling dice and pushing toy soldiers around. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, may the dice be ever in your favor.